Hi everyone, it's Abby with the Bead Place and beadplace.net, and in today's video, I'm partnering with Diakonos Designs. They are a bead store and a kit manufacturer out of Wisconsin, and they have been kind enough to share with me some of their kits. So in this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to make one of their stepping stone bracelets. You can find a link to their store in the description down below. Also, they were kind enough to share a coupon code for my subscribers, so make sure you're subscribed and then use the coupon code ABBY20 on their site to save 20% off your purchase. They have tons of kits to choose from in beautiful colorways, and all of the kits are curated by really talented artists, so make sure to check them out. These stepping stone bracelets are a beautiful and easy but fun two-strand bracelet project using leather, seed beads, and some custom designed spacer beads that hold it all together. So the kits are beautifully assembled. You can see the materials right inside, and this particular kit has 8 different colorways to choose from, and most of the kits are around $20. I'm going to open the kit and see what's inside. So we have a button and some beautiful Picasso finish seed beads. We also have a package of these beautiful stepping stone spacers and some copper oval jump rings. We also have our cord, and the best part, we have a full instruction sheet. Now these instruction sheets that they come or that they put in the kit are great. They have full instructions and pictures that help you along the way. So let's get started. Our first step is to take the leather and fold it in half. We're going to string our button to the very center of our cord and then tie an overhand knot. We want to make sure that the ends of the leather are even, so just check the ends. And then to tie that overhand knot, what we're going to do is make a loop in our cord and then bring the button through that loop. We want to keep our knot pretty close to the shank of that button, but we're not tying the knot over the top of the shank of the button. We're tying it just underneath. Our next step is to take the ends of the leather cord and string a bead onto each one. Now these kits come with more beads than what you'll need because sometimes every now and then the beads might not go on exactly as planned. So if you run into one that's not quite what you are expecting, or it gives you a little bit of trouble, just set it aside and use it for a different project. So we've got 2 beads on our bracelet, 1 on each side of the cord. And now what we're gonna do is take up one of these cool stepping stone beads and we're gonna string that through as well. Now these stepping stone beads, as you can see, have 2 holes in them. So we're going to want to string that right onto the leather, 1 cord through each hole of the stepping stone bead. So we're going to string that down to meet our beads. And then you can kind of take a closer look at what we've gotten so far. Now what we're going to do is string another bead on each side of the leather, so 1 on the left side, 1 on the right side, and we're going to string it down to meet our stepping stone. So we should have 2 beads, a stepping stone, and then 2 beads. Now here's the fun part. I love when we mix metals in projects like this. What we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of these fun oval rings and we're just going to string them right onto the cord. So we're actually stringing through the jump rings with both of our cords. And these just create a fun, just dimensional look on our project. Now, it's not that big of a deal if one of the seams to these jump rings is up and one is down. But what I'm gonna do, just because I'm like that, is I'm gonna twist that around and make sure that my seams are on the bottom of the bracelet. Now, as we work, you'll want to kind of keep everything close and even down at the base so we can just kind of pull those tail ends and make sure that everything is tight. Now, from here on out, the next thing that we're going to do is repeat this same sequence of beads until we've reached our wrist size. So I'm going to add my beads and then my stepping stone, and then my beads, 1 on each cord. Come back here. And then my 2 oval jump rings again. And we're gonna get this really cool effect. And they're all just gonna kind of sit in place. Now again, you can kind of work these beads into place if they're not wanting to sit exactly where you want them to go. And you can turn those jump rings around if the seams end up on the top. So as we work, you'll want to pull everything tight to the knot and make sure that everything is sitting even the way you want it to sit. Another tip that I can share with you while you're working is don't pull on this leather too hard. These beads will want to scooch where they want to scooch whenever you're working with it, but don't pull on the leather too hard because although leather is strong, it can break. So as you're working, just kind of treat everything nicely, and as you work, everything will just kind of settle into place. So whenever you've strung beads until you have a size that you're happy with, what you want to make sure that you're doing is ending with 2 beads here rather than the stepping stones or the jump rings. That's going to make tying the knots a lot easier, and it's also going to make sure that we have a consistent uniform design. So one trick that I can share with you to check to make sure that your bracelet is the right size for you is hold the bracelet around your wrist and make sure that the last beads just barely touch that button. That way we know that once we tie our knots for our button loop, it'll be a comfortable, flexible fit for us. Now, one of the great things about the kits from Diakonos Designs is that they always come with enough beads to accommodate for larger wrist sizes. So you do have a lot of beads left over. Most bracelets that you'll make with this kit design only use 8 or 9 stones, but they come with 10 stones. And then if you need extra length or if you're between sizes, you can go ahead and add extra beads to the end. So you can either add a couple of extra beads here, or what you could do is kind of switch back and forth between the beads and the jump rings just to give yourself a little bit of extra length. Another idea to give yourself some extra length if you really need it is kind of give yourself a little bit of room here in the design and tie your first knot a little bit farther out, then tie another knot for your button design. So I'm at a size that I'm happy with. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I have everything even. I'm going to kind of wiggle my fingers down the beads to make sure everything is nice and uniform. I'm going to double check to make sure all of my rings are in the right direction. Once I tie this first knot, it's going to get a lot more difficult to go back in and adjust anything tension or position wise. So make sure everything's the way you want it. And then what I also like to do is kind of pick it up and flex it to make sure it's going to be flexible enough to go around my wrist. So I'm at a spot now where I'm happy with it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tie an overhand knot right at the base of these beads. So I've done my loop like this, and I'm going to tie a knot by bringing the tail ends through that loop. Now I'm not letting these beads go anywhere, and I'm going to tighten this knot right up next to those beads. It's really important that we have that knot close to the beads, and it's also really important to make sure that the different lengths of leather are even and uniform. So you're going to see me doing that trick that I do all the time when we're tying overhand knots. You're going to pull these leather cords individually. But again, like I said earlier, make sure you're not pulling too tight because this leather can break. So I'm really happy with my design here. I'm going to leave a space that's wide enough for my button to get through. And I'm going to tie another overhand knot. So I'm going to tie it. I'm going to check before I tighten it to make sure I'm happy with this size. Make sure your button can go through, and mine can. And then I'm going to tighten that knot. I'm going to kind of position it so I'm happy with the look of my knot. I see that I've got a little bit of an overlap here, so you can loosen your knot and adjust it so that it looks the way you want it to look. and then you can go ahead and tighten it. Now, if you have beads left over, you can go ahead and add a beaded dangle if you'd like. So that's what I'm gonna do. On one of my cords, I'm gonna add 2 beads. And then I'm going to tie a knot right at the end of those 2 beads. And then on the other side, I'm gonna add 1 bead. And I'm going to tie another knot. Now you're going to see me use the first tool that I've used this entire project. What's great about a lot of these kits from Diakonos Designs is that they are completely beginner friendly, not only technique wise, but tool wise. So if you don't have jewelry making tools at home, you can definitely do this project. So what I'm going to do now, you're probably guessing what I'm going to do. I'm just going to trim my ends with some scissors. And then we have a beautiful finished bracelet. Thanks so much again to Diakonos Designs for providing these kits for me to share with you today. Make sure to check out www.shop.diakonosdesigns.com for over 350 kit options. And remember to use coupon code ABBI20 for a 20% off discount at checkout. I had a lot of fun making this bracelet design, and I'm really thankful to Diakonos Designs for sending them to me. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give us a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel out. Make sure you're subscribed if you'd like to see more. If you have any questions or if you just want to say hey, you can drop a comment down below. And I also want to say a special thank you to my latest top tier Patreon members, Sherry Spears and Lynn Platt. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.